Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Detroit welcome for our last storyteller of the evening, but not least, Mr. Cedric Hill. Yay!
Okay, I'm nervous now. No pressure, thanks. To be or not to be, that is the question. I mean, at the end, that's what we want to know. Are we worth anything? I know I say this because this story is actually called My Mother's Crabs. My family's from the Caribbean, and we like to eat, and we love to eat seafood. And my mother makes crabs. But these aren't ordinary crabs. These crabs are like crack. You have to understand that we have hid these crabs from other family members because we didn't think we had enough. We have gotten people drunk so they forgot about the crabs. We have stabbed each other at the table because we thought somebody got too many crabs. And my mother makes them, and my father cleans them. They can only make it together. It's ridiculous. We need the both of them. So that's the first lesson that I learned, that they can only do it together. Now, I like to cook. That's my only hobby, because everything I do, I like to work. I'm a big workaholic. But it's this smell of curry and onions and garlic just breathing through the house, and you wait and you wait, and then you get this fresh seawater and crab smell that just opens up the room. And then she puts in a little bit of brown gravy, and it simmers and simmers. And you can see it's coming in, just sneaking into the room. I mean, it looks like ninjas crawling in. And anytime somebody gets too close, they get a spoon thrown at them. But I have to start off with that story so you understand how important these crabs, and now, mind you, these crabs, crack. We have taken the gravy, bottled it, and saved it. I'm not kidding. I have some in my freezer right now. Okay, 11 years ago, I was going to Connecticut, because that's where my whole family descends at my sister's house for Thanksgiving. I mean, nieces come from Hawaii, sister comes from Maine, my father even drags himself back up from Jersey. We all just congregate there. And that's where she makes the crabs. But 11 years ago, I didn't feel well. I mean, I was working on a Broadway show. We had just loaded in, so I was tired, which is, you know, that's what working in theater is, you get tired. So I'm walking through the train station, and for some strange reason, I'm like, it's hard to walk. And I couldn't breathe. And it's still hard to walk. But it's the day before Thanksgiving, and the day before Thanksgiving means one thing. My mother's making crabs. So I drag myself from one train, and if you know New York, it's just a big tunnel of subways. But these subways that seem like they're interconnected, they're not. You gotta walk blocks to get around underground. It's disgusting. So I make my way to Port Authority. All right, one more stop. I take the S shuttle across town, I get on the commuter rail, and I'm off to Connecticut to get my crabs. And at one point, the busiest travel day in the year, I am walking down the hallway in Grand Central, and I just lean up against the wall, because all of a sudden my body stopped listening to me. And I was just at an angle so I didn't fall, and not only is it a travel day, it's New York City, so nobody pays attention to you. So people kept walking by, and I remember being cold, very, very cold, and I couldn't hear anything. And I was like, walk, and my body stopped listening. And so I was like, so I tried to rotate, nothing happened. And it got colder. And I was there, I have no idea how long I was actually there. And all of a sudden I got warm, I got really warm, and everything got brighter, and I could not only hear voices, but I could hear individual conversations. Like, hey, I'm running late. Hey, did you get the turkey? And I was like, wow, this is great. And then I could hear something in my head saying, if you close your eyes now, it won't hurt anymore. And I remember being in such pain. It says, if you close your eyes now, it won't hurt anymore. I mean, not just a day, not a week, not a couple years, ever again. And I have really horrible knees because I played sports in college and I don't have very much sense, so I just kept running. So I'm in pain. And the thought of not hurting anymore is exquisite. Nobody should have to be in pain all the time. And the thought of an escape was a really good idea. Everybody seen The Matrix? You know, take the blue pill, take the red pill, and you know, I didn't want the blue pill. I wanted the Matrix. I didn't want to hurt anymore. But my mother's making crabs. And I don't know, it's like the voice said, hey, what you gonna do? And in a deep breath, I was like, I have something to do. I mean, yes, it was the crabs, but I figured out it was something else later. So I take a deep breath and I said, you know what, if you can make it to the main terminal, you'll be okay. I don't know how, but you'll be okay. And probably after 20 minutes, I got enough breath to take a step, and another step, and another step. And it probably took me 20 minutes to walk from here to the parking lot. And I found a ticket agent. I said, I guess I'm gonna be okay. So I bought a ticket and then got on a train. But the train was packed, so I couldn't sit down. I was like, oh, I don't think I can make it all the way up there. It's a 2-hour trip. So I got off the train and I was walking around and my legs started to feel weird again. So this is right after 9/11, maybe a year later, so there are National Guardsmen everywhere. So I walk up to the guard, I'm like, I don't feel good. I think there's something wrong. They kind of said, okay, and they take me in the back, and he takes my blood pressure. And then he turned pale white. My blood pressure was 245 over 140. And he said, do you know what day it is? I said, yeah, man, it's Wednesday. My mother's making crabs. I gotta go. I'm not kidding. I said, well, I know what day it is. So I said, okay, so what's wrong? He says, I can't let you leave. They have to come and get you. I'm like, but I'm gonna be late to get to Connecticut because my mother's making crabs. This is gonna continue, by the way. So I get an ambulance, and traffic in New York is ridiculous. And for some reason that day, there was no traffic, none whatsoever. And they said, what hospital do you want to go to? New York Presbyterian or Mount Sinai? And I said, mind you, I'm still conscious and I have no idea what's going on. He's like, take me to New York Presbyterian. Good choice, very good hospital. So I get there and I walk into the emergency room, walked, never passed out, walked. Call my mother, I'm gonna be late. She's like, why are you gonna be late? You're always late. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sick. I'm in a hospital. So I go in the hospital, they run some tests. They're like, your blood pressure's high. And then they check my blood sugar, and my blood sugar is low. I didn't realize how low it was at 60. I'm supposed to be way unconscious. And I'm like, oh, so you're gonna give me some sugar, you're gonna give me some pills, and I can go get some crabs. They should be call and response at this point. So we're sitting there, and they give me tests, and they give me they give me a soda and some pudding, and my sugar drops to 55. I'm still walking and talking, which I don't understand why everybody's so frantic. I'm like, I'm fine, just give me some more sugar. So they could put glucose. Anybody have glucose injected in their arm? Yeah, it's like sludge injected into your veins. It's painful. Glucose comes into my arm. Hour later, sugar drops again. Blood pressure goes back up. So they have no idea what's wrong with me. I'm in the hospital. It's 10:30. I'm like, they're sitting there. I can see them. They're right on the edge of the counter. They're going for the crabs. I can sense it. And I keep saying this, and everybody's like, no, this is your family. I'm like, you do not understand these criminals. I have said this before. My sisters are shepherds for the devil, and they was... These women used to sit on me and tickle me until I had to pee and then lock the bathroom doors. Devil. So finally, it's 11:30. They finally let me have a sandwich or something, and I get a cramp, but not an ordinary cramp. My fingers roll in, my arms roll in, my knees come to my chest, and my toes curl in. And one of the nurses noticed, because I couldn't talk because I was cramped up, and she said, oh, and one of the orders, and they literally stretched me out. And she said, let's do another EKG. I'm like, whatever, I'm not hurting anymore, so come on. And I'm hungry, because, you know, crabs. Anyway. She takes my EKG, and you know your heart beats in a rhythm. And then her face turns pale because my heart is going 1, 2, back, here, 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 here. It's beating out of sequence. She says, I think I know what's wrong. Hour later, doctor comes down. My cousin's there. And he's like, dude, can we get out of here? You know what day it is? It's like, yeah, I know what crabs. I'm coming. And the doctor walks in, he says, your numbers are impressive. I said, well, thank you. And he's like, no, not that kind of impressive. He said, you see this guy? I said, yeah. He says, his numbers are better than you. I said, okay. He said, he died 2 hours ago. I said, oh, so this is a bad thing. So I asked, I'm not getting out of here tonight, so no crabs. He's like, you have to pay attention. We figured out what's wrong with you. Both your kidneys have failed. I was doing a show. I was always tired. I just didn't notice. Both my kidneys had failed. I had gone into complete renal failure. The potassium levels had risen so high that if I'd gotten a heart attack, which I was about to, there was no way to revive me, because every time they shocked me, it would just short my heart out again. He explained further, if I'd gotten on that train, that would have been the last thing I would have ever done. He said, would you have closed your eyes and you would have never woken up again? Okay, I said, so he explains, this is what we can do. We can give you dialysis. I'm like, all right, fine, what's the dialysis? Because obviously I'm not getting any damn crabs, so tell me what I have to do. It's like a sickness, crack, I'm telling you. So he explains it to me, and my cousin's looking at me like, dude, I gotta go, man. I'm like, no, I understand, go ahead. And he says, all right, I said, all right, so we're gonna get this dialysis? He says, no. He says, we don't think you'll survive dialysis. I said, so what am I gonna do? He says, well, we'll take you upstairs, we're gonna give you some fluids and give you some medication, and we hope your vitals come up. And I said, and if they don't? He says, we can make you as comfortable as we can until you die. And that'll be in about 2 days. Still wanted crabs, though. So I looked the doctor in the eye. I said, if I get better, there are 3 things that I need to know that I can do. And 2 out of 3 doesn't work for me. And this is going to sound really not that important. I said, when can I have a drink? When can I smoke a cigar? And when can I have sex again? And he looked at me and said, I think you'll be fine, and you can do all that as soon as we get your vitals up. Okay, we go to the ICU, and I'm starving because didn't get the crabs. And the doctor, I'm like, doctor, I'm starving. The nurse says, we can't feed you. And the doctor looked at me and said, I remember what you asked me. She says, let him eat what he wants. And she brought me a burger. I'll never forget this. Just a plain burger and tater tots. And I'm a large person. And I looked at the nurse like, where's the rest? And she looked at the doctor. He's like, I give up. This guy is trying to get crabs again. Yeah, oh yeah, the doctor heard it 50 times. Crabs, crabs, crabs. I need to get the crabs. By the way, I brought my doctor the crabs, and he asks for them every year. This is not just me. So I go up and I have my food, and the next day my parents come down. It's Thanksgiving. They're the only 2 that showed up, and I'm telling the nurses that, and I cried for 25 seconds. And I said, that's the last time I'm gonna cry, because I understood what was at stake. I understood what I had to do, because dialysis and getting a transplant is work. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work to stay healthy and stay positive. And I promised I'd never yell at anybody, because nobody got me sick. They're just trying to help me. So I'd never yell at anybody, and I'd always be polite, no matter what was going on. Blood spurting out of my arm, polite. So we did that, and my parents are there, and they hug me, and they're sad, and I've never seen, my father's a big man, and he was broken. He was broken. Never seen my father broken before. I mean, he's 6'3", he's big, and he was broken. And my mother was just 20 years gone. I saw her face get older as she looked at me. I had 30 leads attached to my body. And I thought I was fine, because, got to Grand Central, it's gonna be okay. I had faith. I did have faith. Next day, my sisters come down, and the nurse is like, oh, your family's here. I said, yeah, they're here, but watch this. Guys, did you save me any crabs? They're like, well, we didn't think you'd be able to eat them, so we ate your share. Shepherds for the devil. My lovely parents, they're like, well, yeah, we can't let them go to waste. We eat them too. No love. No love. But that day, that first day, I realized that I was gonna be. I said, I'm gonna answer that question that we all ask. It's, can we stand? Can we be? Can I be what I should be? When the question is asked, can I answer it? So, 2.5 years later, a friend of mine gave me a kidney. He was a perfect 6 out of 6 match, thank you. Experimental drugs, no steroids, always very nice. But it was all because of my mother's crabs. But it's not just the taste of the crabs. It starts with my mother cooks them and my father cleans them. And we all come from everywhere to get these foods. And we invite friends, come get the crabs. And everybody gets the crabs for this one day. We all congregate. We all are together. So the crabs aren't just tasty, they're that feeling of home. So my mother's crabs, that feeling of home, allowed me to unchain myself to be what I am today. Unchained and not afraid to be who I am. Thank you.
Cedric Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers. We'll be back here next.